What if a child didn't remember the past, but the future? Imagine a little boy, no different from any other, except for one chilling detail. He doesn't have memories. He has premonitions. The first time anyone realized something was profoundly wrong with him was when he started crying over things that hadn't happened yet. These weren't just nightmares or a child's overactive imagination. These were specific events names, dates, classy spoken with the unnerving certainty of a memory that has already been lived. He cried for a car accident that was still 3 weeks away. With a trembling voice, he described the sickening sound of folding metal, the acrid smell of smoke, the exact shade of the blue jacket his mother would be wearing when she died. His family tried to dismiss it, to soothe him, telling him it was just a bad dream. But 3 weeks later, on a rain-slicked highway, it happened. Exactly as he had said. After that, the doctors stopped calling it a coincidence. They started calling it something else, something they couldn't name. As the years passed, the visions sharpened, becoming clearer, more effracant, and infinitely crueler. The boy didn't see random futures, flickering glimpses of what might be. He only remembered one specific kind of future, the ones where he survived. And in every single one of those futures, someone else paid the price for his survival. A teacher who once dismissed his warnings, a doctor who tried to help to understand the source of his terrible gift, even a stranger who just happened to stand too close to him on a crowded subway platform. Every future he described ended the same way. The world continued on its axis, but it was a little smaller, a little emptier. Scientists and psychologists began to study him, working in quiet, sterile rooms, their sessions shrouded in secrecy. They documented every prediction, their pens scratching nervously across notepads. He foresaw earthquakes that would split cities, fires that would consume forests, and political collapses that would redraw maps. His predictions were always accurate, but they were also always incomplete. He saw the disaster, the aftermath, the sorrow, but never the cause, never the full picture. It was like watching a film with crucial scenes missing. But as they compiled their data, a disturbing pattern began to emerge, one that defied all logic and reason. It was a pattern they couldn't explain, a variable they couldn't account for. Whenever the child tried to change what he saw, whenever he attempted to intervene and save someone, the outcome became exponentially worse. It was a cruel, cosmic joke. His knowledge was a curse, and his good intentions were the trigger. He once begged his father, with tears streaming down his face, not to board a flight to a conference. He saw the plane spiraling from the sky, a plume of fire and smoke. His father, shaken by his son's genuine terror, canceled his trip. And the plane, it didn't crash. It landed perfectly safely at its destination. Instead, the airport did. A catastrophic structural failure, a gas line explosion, a freak event that no one could have predicted. The death toll was 100 times what the plane crash would have been. It was then they understood the horrifying truth. The future wasn't a fixed, unchangeable path. It was alive, and it was reacting to him. It was actively fighting back to ensure its grim prophecies were fulfilled, twisting and contorting events to make them even more tragic. As the boy grew into a young man, the visions began to accelerate. They were no longer distant whispers, but a constant, deafening roar. They came faster, heavier, like a lifetime of memories collapsing into his mind all at once. The past, present, and future blurred into a single, unbearable stream of consciousness. He stopped sleeping, haunted by the faces of those who were doomed. He stopped asking questions, because he already knew the horrifying answers. He simply started writing. He filled notebooks, journals, loose scraps of paper, his hand moving with a frantic, desperate energy. He wrote down page after page of futures, documenting every detail of the tragedies to come. But here was the final, devastating irony. These futures, the very ones he was chronicling, ceased to exist the moment he remembered them and wrote them down. His act of observation was an act of creation, and his memory was a death sentence for the timelines he witnessed. He was living in a quantum nightmare, trapped in a paradox of his own making. He was the sole survivor of 1,000 apocalypses that only he would ever know happened. Then, one quiet evening, the final vision came. It arrived without the usual fanfare of disaster. There was no fire, no earthquake, no screams of the dying. There was no sound at all, just a profound, absolute silence, a stillness that was more terrifying than any catastrophe he had ever witnessed. In T's future, the one that felt so different, so final, the boy did not survive. For the first time, he saw a world without himself in it, and in that world, everything was different. In his absence, the world thrived. Every catastrophe he had ever described, every death he had foreseen, every tear he had shed for a future that was yet to be, it all vanished. The car crash, the airport collapse, the countless other tragedies he had documented, they were all erased from the timeline, as if they had never been destined to happen at all. The future was saved. He picked up his pen for the last time. At the bottom of the final page, his hands shaking so violently he could barely form the letters, he wrote one simple, heartbreaking sentence: "If I live, the future dies." The young man disappeared shortly after that. No body was ever found. No record remained of where he went, or if he ever existed at all. It was as if he had been erased, not just from the present, but from the past itself. But after that day, something undeniable changed. The constant drumbeat of inexplicable disasters, the strange accidents, the near misses that had plagued the world for years. They just stopped. The world seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief, without ever knowing it had been holding its breath. And a small, forgotten group of scientists still wonders in the dead of night. Was the future truly saved by his sacrifice? Or, in a final, cosmic twist, did it simply forget him? If you want more unsettling stories about fate, memory, and realities that should never exist, subscribe to Miss. Thanks for watching.